So Cecily is related to Isabel, and then Will is related to Jason. That's so cool. In a way, Izzy and Alec are kind of related to Jason, but very distantly, so it's not weird. But it's so cool to know that he is deep down related to them. The Carstairs, I think that's a Carstairs thing, right? The Carstairs, he's also related to the Carstairs somewhere because one of the Carstairs married into the Herondale family. So he's related to both Will and Jam. Anyway, and then there was the uncle at the Christmas ball with the sword, and that's the sword that Emma's gonna have, and then she does actually have it. Like, spoiler alert, Emma Carstairs has the Carstairs sword. Shoot me. She's just, oh, the way everything comes full circle. And I said there's these odd little couple thingamabobs, I think we've already talked about them, that don't quite click into place like how other things do. There's a couple of things in there that I'm really worried won't click, and other than that, everything clicks and goes full circle. And I don't know anything about the last hours. I know with Dark Arts it's about Emma, and that's all I know. So anything could happen in those two series, and I really think Dark Arts is definitely connected. That all these things are going to be drawn out, and then it's going to be all these new things. They're going to have to click again, and it's going to come back, and I think it's going to get really complicated. And I really hope it does, because that'll be so much fun to read. Tessa. I've never really talked about Tessa before, because before I was kind of like, she's kind of annoying. She's kind of like Clare, but she's not that bad. I really love Tessa. I find out she's so selfless and so kind, and I just love her. I talked to my friend about this today. She's like, Tessa's not kind, she's not selfless, she's so selfish. What did she say? Why is she selfish? She had an argument, and it was valid. And the way she acts about that situation, which is why I think she's so selfish, she doesn't act about it for her. Because deep down, she probably loves Will more than Jem. Or does she? She doesn't know, she's confused. But she can't break up with Jem because it will hurt Jem, and because Will won't be able to live with the guilt, because it affects them both and it would hurt them both, and she can't bear to be the one that stands between them. And I think that's so selfish and so strong of her. She thinks of others before herself all the time. The Mortman package and that whole scene was really beautiful, but really hard and heart-wrenching, and how Jem, to make a point, threw that little packet in the fire. Like, how dare you, Jem? Sit down for a second, please. And then Will put his hands in the fire just to save that little scrap, and it was so heartwarming. And their relationship is so cute. And Jem and Tessa, and how Tessa just kind of all pretty walked away. I love them. That was intense. Will is so nice. I love him so much, but then I love Jem so much. But Jem's kind of annoying. But then so is, well, Will's not annoying. But I kind of really want her to be with Jem. I can't explain it. I want her to be with Jem, but I do understand how Jem's a little bit annoying. But I do really love Will. Do you see what I mean? It works out in the end. It's okay. And there's the fight outside the interview, and it's kind of like, oh man, this again. Turns out that's a really important fight, and I swear it happened like within the first third, definitely, and then after that it was just the same thing for ages. After that fight there wasn't really a lot to it. That was a really important fight, and it happened really early on in the book. Tessa and Jem went running for her, and Tessa was, oh, that was so sweet, and then Jem collapsed, and no, Jasmine died. I don't really care. I don't like Jasmine that much. Shame. She turned into a ghost and she's there. I don't really like her anymore now, but holy fire, man. Bridget was really like amazing, and so much of her fight. I wanted more Bridget, to be honest. We don't really know her. I want her to come and play. So I wonder if she comes and play in the last hours, because she was so around all the time, and she was singing these ballads, and then she was such an awesome fighter. I feel like they had these really strong fragments of her, and I feel like I need to put the piece together. I feel like Cassandra Clare will let us put the piece together, but then I'm not like an expert on Cassandra Clare. I really hope she is. I really hope we see more of her, because she seems like a solid, decent person and a really interesting character to read about. I want that. So the whole Clockwork Angel thing, the deal is that angel was set up to save her life. It originally was Mormon's parents, and he set out for his wife, and then he triggered it to save Tessa's life. That's why she survived the womb, and nothing ever happened to her, because even as a baby, that Clockwork Angel was saving her life. Turns out there's a little piece of an angel's soul. That angel is ethereal. Ethereal is the angel in City of Glass. Do you remember him? Yes. I bet you any money the wings at the end of City of Lost Souls, ethereal. I bet you any money. He's not very careful, that dude, is he? I wonder if he's going to come into play again. He's been in both these series so far. I bet you he will be in the other ones. I can't see how he would be. He needs to really like look out a little bit better. I really like him now because I feel so sorry for him because everything bad always happens to him. He's the silent but in angel form. Jem died, and that was so upset. I didn't really cry because I heard it, snippets of it before about Jem hinting towards that he's dead, and so I knew that was it. And then I also knew the whole Brother Zachariah thing. I'd been spoiled for that as well, so I wasn't actually upset because I didn't really think about it a lot reading the other ones. I kept thinking, oh my god, if Jem dies, I'm gonna cry so much. But I guess unconsciously it settled and I was okay with it deep down, but I never really knew about it. And so when it actually happened, I cried a little bit, but it wasn't really like, it was kind of like, oh. When Charlotte said it's time to say goodbye though, that was upsetting. I didn't like that. It turns out he's just Brother Zachariah. And then Brother Zachariah is in TMI. Which means that he must turn into Jem in TMI. City of Heavenly Fire, people. So many things these happen in City of Heavenly Fire. When Jem and Will fight for the last time, you know, in that little room with the Automons, or how do you say that word? But it's Brother Zachariah, but it kind of still looks like Jem. Or the staff. And he was like, why are you fighting with a stick or a cane, whatever? He's like, it's a staff. Yeah, okay, whatever you say. So funny. Even just, oh, I love them so much. So fair. They had to say goodbye. That was so heartbreaking. He was like, how could I say goodbye to you, Will? And I was like, I can't. I got close my eyes. I don't know what to say. That was heartbreaking. That was heartbreaking. Sophie ended up ascending, and she kept saying how she wanted to be a shadow hunter, and then she got to be a shadow hunter, and she was with Gideon, and those two are a really cute couple, so I was really happy for her, and it all worked out well. So someone else that ends up with someone else. Yeah. Christmas sounded so amazing. Like, that whole ball was just so cool. I was a little bit upset how Tess kept, you know, talking about flashbacks at that particular time. It's like, Cassie, couldn't you do that beforehand? Like, before this beautiful ball? No, she can't. Charlotte decides to call the children Bramwell because she's council now, and that's just a thing that happens apparently. So, whew, Henry doesn't die, it's okay, nothing happens to Henry, it all makes sense. So, right, we're going to go back a little bit now. This whole end section that I feel was a little bit too quick and not enough fighting for the dramaticness that it deserved, because it is pretty dramatic. These infernal devices, turns out there's a demon in this robot body, and so the infernal cup, whatever, in TMI is actually getting these shadow hunters and putting a demon inside of them. I think, more or less. But these demons obviously latch onto the memories and kind of become that person now. It reminds me a lot of a remnant from Scudderby Pleasant. Very similar idea, a little bit more scary though, I think. Remnants, I think you can actually get them out of people, where these demons, they ain't coming out now. They're stuck in there. Great. So Charlotte makes this final call, misses it all to get people to come, and then these three silent brothers come, and that's it. And one of them's Brother Zachariah, and it's like, I know you're in that TMI. Yeah. And then I more or less knew that he was Jem. I kind of like couldn't spoil, but then again, I didn't really take it seriously. I didn't really acknowledge it, but it must have rested with me somewhere. So I kind of knew, and I wasn't shocked. It was like, gasp. And then Cance was like, no, that's it. You're gone. You're gonna be Shadow Hunter. Well, not quite that dramatic. You're removed from the institute. Blah blah blah. Oh, shut up. Winters were so cute, and then Magnus finds them. My friend said that Magnus finds them doing something in a cave, and I thought it'd be the balcony scene in Clockwork, but then I laughed so hard because of that. Okay, this whole angel transformation ordeal, I think it is a very fitting ending. I think it's very good. You know, she becomes Ethereal, and it's this big thing, and then she suffers from it, and there's pain in the sacrifice, and there's glory, and it's all amazing. Yes, there wasn't enough fighting. There's this little smidgen fight, and it sounded really bad, but I can't imagine it being that bad in my brain. It keeps sounding like they were fighting. It sounds like when they were fighting these automaton thingamabobs, they were fighting like 50, and it was all really bad. And then it turns out it was only like 7 or whatever. And I can't imagine it like being that bad. So it's hard for me to say. I feel like there should have been a battle back in the London Institute, not necessarily an institute, but where the council was happening and it killed them. I feel like Ultimate should have burst in the room, and we should have got. I feel like that happened, that there was a battle or something, but we didn't get to see it. It's like, I want to see the battles. There are so many amazing battles in TMI. That's the thing that I love about TMI, is the battles and the epicness of it, and there's just none of it in this series. And it really annoyed me because I feel like, just, you know, don't have any fighting to win the first few books if you have two and just have this big battle just in the council. And then it can flip from them. And then they're fighting the automatons in here, and then they're fighting the automatons in London, and then maybe Tessa can go up to the balcony and have this mini fight with their master doing that, and it's all very risky. And then she becomes this angel, and then everything stops. And they kill Mortimer, and then all the Automans die, and then it's happily ever after, and everyone lives. And I feel like that would have been just so much epic and such a. I would have felt a lot more satisfied with the ending. It was very quick as well. It felt easy. She became this angel, and that was that. That was the end of that. There wasn't any big fights or anything, and it was very fast. Happened within 2 or 3 pages. Some of those battles are either a long chapter or span over a couple different chapters. Like, I'm anticipating a battle against the City of Heavenly Fire because I can't see how it can solve without one. And if there isn't, there will be. I need it to be big, and I need it to be like 7 chapters long, and I need it to be epic. And so yeah, the whole epilogue, we just learned about their whole life, and then when we got described about Will's death, I cried. And I know he's obviously dead now because he must have died, but like still, to know that he was, to have it described, it wasn't fun. I wasn't ready for that. And then Jem at the end, and he was Jem, who wasn't Brother Zechariah. I didn't see that one coming. Because people kept hinting about how he was dead and stuff, and how people, like, they'd be like, oh, I'd love to be with Jem, but I can't because he's dead. No one ever mentioned that though. They kept that one well concealed. So they swore that he died, but they didn't spoil that he came back to life. I'm kind of happy though, because if I found out they came back again, I'd be like, oh yeah, he's dead. Oh yeah, his brother Zachariah, he's back to life. What do you do? Like, I'm glad they left some shock for me. What? I'm gonna guess that in City of Heavenly Fire, obviously in City of Heavenly Fire, he must turn back to Jem. I'm gonna assume that it's the Heavenly Fire burning the drug, because that's the only logical way I can see it. That's what other people said. So it doesn't feel like the end. It feels like the end of this trilogy will be in City of Heavenly Fire, because there's some things in here that has to include in that book, and I feel like that'll be the end. And I've started reading, as I said, now looking back at it, that was the end. That doesn't feel like the end to this series. It doesn't even feel like the end to that series. It feels like the first book to a whole new adventure, and I love the fact that she's kind of carrying on with the Shadowhound world. Like, before, I was like only just reading TMI, I wasn't that into it, and I was like, oh my god, she's gonna write more. And it wasn't like I wasn't blaming her for writing more. I kind of understand if she has more stories in the world she needs to tell. I'm hoping she doesn't like bajillion billion, and I want to see something new from her. As long as she writes like a couple books here and there, new topics, and I wouldn't mind her carrying on with that for the rest of my life. That's perfectly fine by me. But I'm really excited to just see all these new series and finish City of Heavenly Fire and see how everything concludes and how everything carries on. And I have a feeling we're going to stick around with Tessa and Jem for quite a while, because they're the very bases, and Will obviously plays into it with Jace, and Jace is like, I have a feeling Jace is going to be around because he's still like Emma. Everything worked out, you know. They all got to be with Tessa in one shape or form. Will was with her for her life, and then she was like, of course, Jim, I love you at the end. And I kind of feel a little bit upset that you should just leave it. Just leave it with Will and Tessa, you know. He doesn't get this second chance. It's not fair. You know, he spoils all that beautiful ending you've just done. But, shut up, Jade. So, we have Elia Carstairs, which is Jem's uncle, and he gets married to Solette Verlec or something like that. And then they have some more children, and then Cordelia, and they have children, and they had Alistair's, who went on, or whatever it says, who went on to have John, who went on to have Emma. But then there was also Cordelia, which is back Alistair, you know, 2 generations up from Emma. I don't know if you have this family tree. Oh wow, that's bright. I don't know if this family tree is on the inside jacket of the first edition. Whoa, white balance has gone crazy. There we go. It's on the first edition for the on the inside jacket of here. I don't have it, so I'm gonna print it out. Blackthorn's tying there a little bit with the Herondales, and we have Stephen and Celine to Jace, and yeah, Cordelia Carstairs gets with James Herondale. And they have Owen, who has Marcus, who has Stefan, who has Jace. And that obviously all started with the James Herondale back from William Herondale and Tessa Grey. And then Cecily ended up to be related to Isabel, and Sophie had children as well, but then you don't really get to find out much about them. It says see another family tree or something. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to really quick run through each book and give my full opinion on the cover, remind you of the songs and the markouts that I gave it. Just to wrap this up, so we have Clockwork Angel. Oh my god, I totally forgot. I said that the names could be rearranged. I think the last one would be better if it's called Clockwork Angel because that comes into a bigger play. And maybe this one could be called Clockwork Prince, and we could have the reference to Mortimer or whatever, like in here, and it'd be really confusing. No one figures it out until the second book, where we'll have a reference to Clockwork Princess, or you know, this one will be Clockwork Princess, and he could say, "You're gonna be my Clockwork Princess," and so Tess is the Clockwork Princess early on, and the next book we realise that he's the Clockwork Prince. I don't know. I just thought they'd make more sense. So, Clockwork Angel, one of the songs I picked for this was Heart on Fire. The other one was One by Florence Machine. I gave this a 7.5 out of 10, and the cover is gorgeous. I think it's my favourite cover of the trilogy. Clockwork Prince, this one's my second favourite cover of the trilogy. It's also absolutely gorgeous. It's a tough decision. I gave this one a 9 out of 10, and the song is either Superheroes or Heroes by the Script. And then last but certainly not least, we have Clockwork Princess. And I'm a big fan with this, with that wrapped up really quick, and it wasn't like, it didn't feel like an end. So I think I literally like this one and Clockwork Prince exactly the same. I gave them both 9 out of 10, and I cannot pick a favourite. This cover is my least favourite. It's just not as pretty as the others, but it's definitely very pretty and gorgeous compared to the ones on my shelf currently. These songs that I'm going to pick for this one are The Power of Love by Gabriella Alpen. I have no idea how to say that name, I've already butchered it. And Leave This Body by Florence Machine. Leave This Body is more of like one for the whole trilogy, really. I'm really proud of all the songs I picked. I think they all definitely can correspond with all the books and relate very well. I was listening to Florence Machine, so Never Let Me Go and Only a Fortnight really reminds me of the series as well, but then Only a Fortnight also reminds me of City of Heavenly Fire, so if you see that coming, that's why. Florence Machine songs work really well with Cassandra of Clare books, I find. Loved this trilogy, guys. So attached to all the characters. I loved the friendship, I loved the love, I loved the struggling and how it all wrapped up. I feel like conclusions are never as good as they need to be. Like, this is the third trilogy I've read now where the last book wasn't as good, or wasn't good enough at least. Like, it was still really good, but I feel like it should have wrapped up a little bit smoother. Like, Dark Artifices and Last Hours are going really chaotic now that I said that. But that is all. That is the end of the Infernal Devices trilogy. Who's sad? Everyone. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a super morning, afternoon, evening / night. My name's Jade. I'll see you again next time. Bye! It's winding.